There are always challenges whenever you build a new ride. When you're trying to invent a new technology and you're trying to do something no one else had ever done before, that in itself presents challenges.
People get excited about prototypes, but they might not realize that prototypes are not easy. The very first one actually is not even profitable, but that's what you have to do.
I like to say that we don't typically win bids. We get bids that nobody else wants. You're putting a launch system on a ride, that requires really tight tolerances on a wooden structure. There's probably a reason we were the first people to do it.
The trains had to be redesigned, the track had to be redesigned, everything had to be redone to get that project done.
I feel like as roller coaster enthusiasts, a lot of us have had a similar scenario happen where we've shown up all excited to Dollywood to ride Lightning Rod, this amazing Rocky Mountain construction roller coaster, only to find that dreaded sign right out front that says closed for God knows how long.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, all you racers, Lightning Rod is in need of a quick tune-up, and we don't know when it's going to reopen.
It's not that quick, usually, but apparently that's going to change.
Yeah, so in 2024, Lightning Rod is going to feature a high-speed chain lift instead of a launch. So the world's only launched wind roller coaster will be no more. Which, if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like this is not that surprising.
Yeah, at this point I feel like they've exhausted every option to increase uptime on this ride. And they went through and did a bunch of iBox track instead of the wood track, and that didn't really work.
They did updates to the trains. They were fixing the lead car. They moved the back car.
They slowed down the launch.
Yeah, there's been so many modifications to this one ride.
It's just not happening.
This is, at this point, not even the same roller coaster, I feel like, compared to when it first originally opened.
There you go, you cred counters.
Honestly, hey, listen, if you're counting Top Thrill 2 as a new credit, then I feel like this new version of Lightning Rod, compared to the original, it's not going to feel the same. But
it's been very gradual.
Yes, that's the thing. This is over time. Okay, so the last big change that they did to Lightning Rod was for the 2021 season when they did half of the ride with iBox. So it is a true hybrid where it is half wood, half steel. And so a couple years later, now we're seeing this high-speed chain. I feel like at some point the next logical step would be to put iBox track on the rest of it.
I feel like that's the smart move. I don't know if they're going to do that with this. But
no, I don't know.
They might not. But one thing that's definitely going to happen is they're going to get all new trains that can work with a chain lift instead of a launch.
Right, because that's the whole thing, is when they did Lightning Rod, they had to redesign the undercarriage to accommodate for this launch fin. And so now you don't need that anymore. And so I am very curious to see what approach they do. Do we see a more traditional train compared to what we've seen on other iBox coasters? Or do we go a next-gen train like what we've seen teased with the Wild Moose? We've seen the RMC is taking steps to go for a more open train design. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see which version they go with, I'm honestly thinking it's going to be just the traditional train, because at this point Dollywood cares so much about uptime that if they go with a new prototype train, I feel like they could just have more problems with it. So
that would be pretty sad. So the main point that Dollywood really wanted to drive home is that the ride experience as a whole is not really supposed to change, despite the fact that it's not going to be launched anymore. They claim that the speed that you'll be cresting the lift hill now is the exact same speed as when you were launching, which is 13 miles an hour. Because, it does kind of come to almost a stop when you get to the top of it.
It slows down considerably because they removed the top stator, so you just kind of coast at the very end. So, 13 miles per hour, I guess, is the speed that we've been going over, and it's going to continue to be that speed.
So obviously, at first glance, it's but the launch was so fun.
Yeah.
I want to believe that they're correct in their analysis, that it won't feel very different. I don't know if I fully believe that. That it would be the exact same. I don't know if they're looking at, when they say high-speed chain lift, are we talking El Toro Skyrush fast?
But those are cables. That's the thing.
But they said high-speed chain. I'm I don't know, how fast can you go?
I don't know what the fastest chain would be. Well, no, I do know what it is. It's when you put tornado in boost mode at Pocket.
Yeah.
But, okay, you have pretty fast chain lifts on, Fury 325 and Orion, because those are massive lifts, and they're, super silent, too, as you're going up to the top. I'm happy that they're going for, reliability, because if you go to Dollywood, every ride is always open
except this one,
except for Lightning Rod. So Dollywood has pushed that standard. You go in expecting to be able to ride stuff, and so I think that's why people are always bummed when it's okay, if this was a Six Flags park that had Lightning Rod, I don't think that the ride would still be there.
No.
Or a park that didn't have the budget that Dollywood has. They probably poured so much money into this thing.
I think they have.
Yeah, so at this point, I think they're getting desperate. They're like, we need to fix this. And so that's why I say I'm not really surprised.
So your last chance to get a ride in on the launched version of Lightning Rod will be October 30th, so basically Halloween weekend.
Yep.
And after that, it's going to close and supposedly in 2024 springtime. And it seems like this is something that like Dollywood's been working on probably for a while, because this thing has been causing them issues from day one.
Yeah.
So I feel like after they realized that the iBox track wasn't really working, it was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
And that was quite a while ago.
Yeah, and it's not to say that the iBox track wasn't necessarily working. It's like when
it wasn't the fix that they wanted.
You fix one thing, another problem rises up.
Well, the launches seem to always be like the main issue. I mean, how often did that thing roll back?
Yeah.
I've seen it with my own eyes multiple times, and I haven't even been to Dollywood that many times.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you also think about like the company that they went with. Like Velocity is known for their braking systems. I believe this is the first time that they did a launch, and so
well, that's ironic.
Like. Yeah, I mean...
they braked already.
Yeah,
no.
I'm sure there's a whole lot of factors of why this didn't work like how it was originally expected to.
Yeah, and like they mentioned in the video that they did, innovation is very complicated. You know, there's a lot of times where you come with an idea and it's brilliant and it works perfectly, but like how often does that really happen?
Yeah.
There's always going to be problems, and sometimes they're problems you can overcome. Sometimes they're problems that you realize, okay, it didn't really work. That's a scientific method for you right there. You never know. Sometimes your hypothesis is inconclusive, doesn't work.
When it was working, it was fantastic. I said when I first rode that was the best roller coaster I'd ever ridden.
I never got to do it in its peak time like that.
Peak Lightning Rod was unbelievable. Like, I missed that. I really missed that ride.
Well, that's been gone for a while, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing is... It's like a ship of Theseus thing. Like, how many things have changed over the years with this one? Is it even Lightning Rod?
We're bringing the same credit debate again.
It is. It's legitimate, though. Like, how much has to change for it to be not even the same coaster?
It's not Lightning anymore. It's just Rod. I'll tell you one thing's for sure. We're probably never going to see another Launch One roller coaster ever again. I think this was great that you tried. It was awesome when it worked, but I don't see another park wanting to take another stab at it.
Yeah. I do like the uphill launch, though. I want to see more of those. Those are fun.
Yeah, just on a steel coaster.
Yeah. It's just not on a wood coaster. Yeah.
So let us know down in the comments below what you think of this change. If you're looking forward to more reliability, if you're sad to see a current version go, and stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios. We'll see you next time.